When you're feeling lost in the night, when you feel your world just slip count on me, I will be there. See you through. I'll be there when there is nothing I won't do. Promise you, you know I will.
If you have followed my last R. Kelly video during the time of the event, then you know my stance on the entire situation. However, a few years after the trials, I decided to update it with added info from Lion. As of now, you should know R. Kelly was finally convicted by a federal court and sentenced to 30 years in prison.
Now, the big breaking news just moments ago is that R. Kelly has been sentenced to 30 years in prison.
We've seen his explosive 2019 interview with Gayle. It's a choice bit of play acting on both sides of the screen. Just pay attention to the video.
Just use your common sense. How stupid would it be for me? Oh, right now I just think I need to be a monster and hold girls against their will, chain them up in my basement and don't let them eat and don't let them out unless they need some shoes down the street from their uncle.
Robert,
Stop it. Y'all quit playing. Quit playing.
Robert.
I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my career.
Robert.
30 years of my career. Y'all trying to kill me. You killing me, man. This is not about music. I hope this camera keep going.
No, we're gonna
This
let
is
the
not
camera keep
true.
rolling. Okay,
This is not, doesn't even make sense.
You would think real women would not maintain such an unfazed composition if a man blew up like that. It's also the part in the script where they allow R. Kelly to look his audience straight in the eyes and tell you the unvarnished truth.
Is this camera on me?
Yes, it's on.
That's stupid. Use your common sense. But just use your common sense.
Indeed, what he means quite literally is that he's not R. Kelly. R. Kelly is just a persona and always has been. Everything R. Kelly does is part of the script, including his latest part in the R. Kelly trial. If you use common sense as R. Kelly suggests, you'll come to the same conclusion.
Let me read you actually some statements. Speaking to R. Kelly, you taught them that love is enslavement and violence.
This is just another split the sexes. Men Are Pigs project funded by your very own tax dollars. It is all theater, as I am about to show you. The whole thing began to unwind after I read this. The racketeering charge against Mr. Kelly is rarely used in similar criminal cases. You see, as the article reminds us, R. Kelly was not tried or convicted for statutory rape, as you might have assumed. He was tried and convicted of racketeering and violating the Mann Act. What should that tell us about R. Kelly? Let me simplify it for you. Racketeering is the wrong charge. R. Kelly's supposed criminal enterprise was not for financial gain. By definition, racketeering is about making money. If there's no evidence of a monetary motive, then the racketeering charge falls apart. That's not according to me, that's according to the US. In order to be found guilty, the government must prove beyond a reasonable doubt. 1. That an enterprise existed. 2. That the enterprise affected interstate commerce. Did federal prosecutors prove beyond a reasonable doubt that R. Kelly affected interstate commerce? No. They didn't even touch on it. The entire trial was nothing more than a sensationalized recounting of R. Kelly's psychological manipulations and disgusting escapades. It was a racketeering trial in which the prosecution apparently forgot to prove that R. Kelly was a racketeer. Media reports tell us that the defense built their case on attempting to prove that these encounters were consensual. But since these encounters were that entire approach goes out the window. By definition, cannot be considered consensual. That's why it's called statutory. Did R. Kelly's attorneys miss that in law school?
I personally, this happened to me a long time ago. I was 17, I'm 45 today.
Lost in the night, when you feel your world just slip.
Here's more evidence that the racketeering charge was bogus. Many of R. Kelly's enablers testified in court, willingly disclosing that they knowingly helped R. Kelly exploit.
But nonetheless, he's going to take the stand and he's going to talk about some of the things he was asked to do by R. Kelly. You know, when you talk about this criminal enterprise, you wonder, why is R. Kelly the only one charged and not everyone else who played a part in acting on his behalf, his bodyguards and drivers who approached these young girls and women and made these arrangements for R. Kelly?
Back to the article. Mr. Kelly's employees describe how essential they and others were in facilitating the misconduct that the artist has been accused of from the early 1990s through recent years. One assistant, Anthony Navarro, told jurors he drove female guests to one of the singer's mansions and, there, was instructed to help maintain a strict set of rules that controlled their daily routines. And a former tour manager for the singer, Demetrius Smith, told jurors he bribed a government employee for fake identification for Leah to marry Mr. Kelly, who believed that she may have been pregnant with his child. In other words, they willingly incriminated themselves in federal court.
How did that come about? Did he ask you, did he say, look, I got an issue, she's 15?
Well, I came up with that idea to do that, to assist them in the...
As this article states, even a defendant who merely carried out orders, such as a mid-level drug dealer in a cartel, can be shown to have had control, as long as the defendant acted with some discretion, decision-making power. So, why haven't charges been brought against Anthony Navarro and Demetrius Smith? And again, why did these men so willingly incriminate themselves?
Okay, flight risk? If I was a flight risk, I wouldn't even be here. I could be in another country this afternoon if I wanted to. I got friends who can create false passports. I could be at home right now, printing up fake credit cards or working on that meth lab in my basement, prying open apartment mailboxes over on Grand Avenue. Gee, that's what I'm talking about. You about as dumb as that judge who let me off on that arson job I actually did.
Why were they helping to prove that a racket existed by admitting that they were part of it? This goes against all reason. Also notice that evidence of criminal activity was presented spanning from the early 1990s through recent years. The prosecution must prove that 2 racketeering acts occurred in a 10-year period. Much of the evidence in the trial was superfluous, not only because they covered too long a period, but also because they presented the wrong sort of evidence. Again, they weren't putting R. Kelly on trial for being a serial does not make you a racketeer. Engaging in organized criminal activity affecting interstate commerce makes you a racketeer. I'll give you another example. A woman identified.
When you feel your world just count on me, I will be there. See you through. I'll be there.
Since day one, comprised entirely of Jewish actors. The obvious question is, why fake this at all? They had to come up with some bogus charge like racketeering, so they could justify shoving as many despicable graphic stories as possible into the media.
He pulled my braid down by him, and he said, daddy, for daddy. And he just started going, he did like 6.
The whole trial was designed to shock and repulse women, especially black women, so that they would distrust men and no longer know how to have healthy sex.
You taught them, speaking to R. Kelly, you taught them that love is enslavement and violence.
It's deeper than R. Kelly. This is just another one of their stories that was targeted toward black men to make them afraid of sleeping with a woman. I get a little more detailed on this in my video titled School by Design. But this is also how they get away with the gaping legal inconsistencies in the script. By dumbing you down with sensational scandals, they disarm your reasoning skills. You don't ask obvious questions because you're too shocked by the gory and freaky details. It also turns your attention away from the important things, like the ongoing vaccine genocide and the destruction of the middle class.
Y'all just don't want to believe the truth. You don't want to believe it.
In fact, the R. Kelly script has always been a useful eye-off project, rolled out at the most opportune times, and then swiftly dropped once it's no longer useful. The racketeering charge is also useful because it then becomes a federal case, meaning it falls under the jurisdiction of the Department of Homeland Security. That's right, the prosecution in R. Kelly's case consisted of special agents from Homeland Security investigations.
And I'm the special agent in charge for Homeland Security investigations here in New York. Today's verdict brings an end to Robert Kelly's decade-long reign of terror over many vulnerable girls, boys, and young women.
That's a big clue, telling us who was running the charade. Think about it, why would DHS be concerned with R. Kelly? Did his sexual escapades pose a threat to national security? Of course not, at least not according to the common definition of national security. But their definition is different. To them, national security is code for any threat to the absolute hegemony of the Phoenician Navy. They aren't threatened by terrorists, drug cartels, or foreign militaries, since they created all those things themselves. The only thing that threatens them is you and me, and anyone who attempts to lead a life apart from their gadgets, their medications, their soul-sucking jobs, and their constant stream of lies. That's what the DHS is all about, and that's what the R. Kelly script is all about. What about the actual trial proceedings? Let's start with the fact that they began on August 18th. Aces and eights. That's a major numerology marker for the Phoenician Navy, telling us from the outset that this is a fake event, as we have seen time and time again. By the way, R. Kelly's birthday is January 8, also aces and eights. Just a coincidence, right? Just as racketeering is a violation of Title 18, R. Kelly was convicted on 1 count of racketeering and 8 violations of the Mann Act. Just more coincidences. We learned from this Guardian article about some
I'm sorry.
It seems as if these people are planted and given manufactured stories. They also tell us he doesn't own any of his songs, but one thing to take note of is that in the documentary called Surviving R. Kelly, they used some of Kelly's most popular songs, including I Believe I Can Fly, Ignition, I Wish, Honey Love and Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. The 2019 documentary premiered on January 3, 2019, and was Lifetime's highest-rated program in more than 2 years, with 1.9 million total viewers. So for Lifetime to use a number of R. Kelly songs in their biggest documentary, the copyright owner R. Kelly must give permission, and they have to pay him each time it is aired. The synchronization license, commonly shortened to sync, generally refers to a legal agreement between the copyright owner of a piece of music and the party seeking to use that music, which permits the synchronization of copyrighted music to any other type of content, mainly visual content. So they created a documentary about Kelly being a and trafficking, yet R. Kelly agreed to let them lease his music. Remember Irv Gotti on Drink Champs?
Let me give you an example. We had this record with Vita called Justify My Love, the Madonna shit. Yeah. Madonna said, rejected, no.
Remember R. Kelly has a legal team, and if this information threatened his career, they would have never gone through with it. In fact, you would have found the documentary on YouTube like mine, and even then it would have been pulled.
Y'all just don't want to believe the truth. You don't want to believe it.
She has not authorized anyone to use her name or face on any product which mentions Tiger, including these golf balls.
This only proves R. Kelly gave them permission to use his music, his likeness, and his image. If you think Lifetime avoided copyright by playing 30-second clips, you're wrong. Here it says, copyright laws for 30-second clips of music. If your use interferes with the marketability of the original work, you'd likely be against the fair use claim. So R. Kelly gets paid for everyone getting together in a big production saying he's a Like Jonathan Lips said,
you will never outsmart the hoaxers.
You laugh at R. Kelly, but who's the joke really on?
Oh, damn. Now I see it. Now I see it.
It's all business, but I'm sure you will say R. Kelly is stupid. He can't read, he can't write, he can't count, he's homeless. He does not own any of his music. But here on All Hip Hop it says, R. Kelly broke and trying to sell his publishing catalog with no luck. This implies he still has control over some of his music, which is why R. Kelly Publishing Inc. is listed under BMI Repertoire. And the songs he mentioned he doesn't own, R. Kelly Publishing is not listed, or he shares publishing. But people believe he only has $625 to his name. But as long as it's reported, they will believe it.
Use your common sense. Don't forget the blog, but just use your common sense.
Arrested in Florida and charged in
The plane crash that killed a rising star in the world of music and film. Reaction today after AALIYAH and 8 others were killed when their plane went down. Good evening, I'm Lauren Glassbergen for Sandra Bookman.
And I'm Tim Fleischer. The plane, just after taking off for Florida in perfect weather, suddenly plummeted to the ground. Investigators now saying one of the engines apparently failed.
So baby, let's chill, let's chill. Settle down, baby. That's all I want to do. Let's chill, baby. Settle down. That's what I want to do. Just me and me. So happy to have you here, standing right by my side. Is it a dream or reality? If it's a fantasy, please don't wake me. All my love is for you. Whatever you want, I will do. You're the only one I want in my life. For you, I'll make that sacrifice. So, baby, let's chill, let's chill. Let's settle down, baby. I want you. That's all I want. Just to be you. Let's chill, baby. Settle down.